I preferred that, just we only saw Arbazz, just to make it easier. But speaking right now, this is Marek Pindanom. I'm, of course, the Executive Director of Shura Council. If there are any questions, again, for those who are just joining us, you can either ask it in the chat or at the bottom bar in the Zoom, you should see a tab that says raise your hand. When you raise your hand, Arbazz will ask that person to go ahead and answer the question. If you raise your hand and then no longer have a question, you want to lower your hand, you can just click on the same button and you'll be able to lower your hand. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Brother Arbazz.
Cool. Malik, can you try raising your hand just because I have the screen share, so I want to see it, make sure it works. Okay. All right. And then let me see. Do that again.
There you go. There's also a form to ask question and answers if you prefer to do that, whichever is easier for everyone, inshallah. So there are all these different ways we can ask question and answers, alhamdulillah.
Okay. So Brother Rauf raised his hand.
I just canceled it.
Okay. And are you able to unmute yourselves in case you need to speak? Okay, that's good. Is anyone not able to speak or unmute themselves? I think some people.
Yeah, I put the option for everyone to be able to unmute, so no one should have that problem.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Jazakallah khair for coming out tonight and discussing the digital Ramadan. I think a few weeks ago, none of us really probably a month ago, couldn't even fathom that every masjid almost in the entire world is closed down for Jummah and all the prayers and everything else that's happening. And we would be forced to adapt. And with being able to adapt, there are their challenges. But I think we all recognize that no matter what we do and how we live our lives, we're constantly placed with new challenges, and technology is only becoming more and more a part of our daily lives. And alhamdulillah, I think this opportunity here within these, this month where, we're away from the masjid, to really rethink how technology has a role in shaping our community, and and provides an opportunity to connect with everyone in our community. I was speaking to someone the other day who's working on the census at a statewide level, and they were saying that one of the hardest things to do is get people to commit to the census because it's a very it's not a fun thing to do for many people. But they said in comparison to this year and last year, they've been able to do better with the census because everyone is at home and they're able to do it digitally from their computers. So similarly, we're seeing the same level of engagement with religious organizations and institutions. One of the pastors was telling me that they have a church in LA, and on a regular Sunday, they'll get maybe 20, 30 people. And now they're getting hundreds of people because it's purely online. And they're able to connect more with people. So whatever is happening in the world, there are people that really want to engage with their masjids and their communities, but that transformation has taken place with the digital changes that have been happening. So alhamdulillah, what I'm going to be talking about today is I'm going to be talking about a rough overview of what it really takes to digitize your masjid. How many of you on a regular basis use a social media platform? And you can raise your hand if you don't use one. Okay. So the only person is Malik. Hanan. So we all use social media, but what we really want to think about is being strategic in how we use social media this Ramadan to really engage our community. So some of the things I'm going to be talking about today are the right platforms that you want to be using. Which social media platforms should you use for your community? Right now, TikTok is a very popular platform, but I wouldn't say that's the place that all of us should be in right now. I just don't think it's right yet for us to be, making TikTok videos. But there are other platforms that are important. And then what tools do we need? What are some essential tools that all of us should be using? Some people, because they want to go all out, they spend thousands of dollars on tools to help their social media, and all it really does is drain their resources. What are the type of people that we need? How many people does it really take to effectively build a situation where you can engage your community and engage a large group of people that are no longer in the masjid, but now are online? How do we create a schedule and stick to a schedule? And then what does content look like? What should we be posting as a masjid? What shouldn't we be posting? How should we post things? And how do we really post things that separate us from other masjids? And then fundraising. I think that's the favorite one. So I decided to save that for the last. So platform. From my investigation and seeing what's essential for our masjids, I brought it down to 5 platforms that are very important for all of us. The first one is Instagram. How many of us don't know what Instagram is? Raise your hand if you don't know what Instagram is.
I kind of know that it has uses pictures and stuff, right? Mostly but I haven't really used it much. Mm-hmm. And I know that our masjid, I'm from Civic, by the way. My name's Ziyaman. I know that we do post stuff on there, but it hasn't been used. I don't think a lot of people use it in our community. I'm not sure.
Okay. So Instagram, you're right. It's a very image-driven platform, but just like it's now owned by Facebook, and a lot of what Instagram is doing similar to what Facebook is doing as far as community engagement. Now you can post pictures on there. You can have live stories. You can have an entire event on Instagram, and you can have Instagram Hangouts. And it's the second largest social media platform after Facebook. So Instagram is very essential in your demographics, and the age range of people on Instagram. They are between probably the 25s to about 40. That's the age range that's on there, but they're a large part of the community. So you need an Instagram channel. Facebook. Does anyone not know what Facebook is? I think we all live on Facebook right now. Okay, Facebook, YouTube, MailChimp. Do you guys know what MailChimp is? Raise your hand if you don't know.
I vaguely knew it. I know it. I know that a couple of people in our masjid use it, but I haven't used it myself.
Okay. So MailChimp is an email marketing platform. There's other ones out there, but for the cost and the price of what we're doing, MailChimp is essential for email marketing and being able to send emails on a consistent basis. And the last one is ClickSend. Does anyone use ClickSend here? Raise your hand if you don't know what ClickSend is. It's about 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I think that's the majority of the people. So ClickSend is a text messaging platform. One of the important ways of really connecting with your community is through text messaging. So as we're all disconnected right now from our communities, one of the easiest ways we can reconnect with everyone is literally, you know, as board members, as community leaders, is creating a spreadsheet with everyone's phone number and name, and using a service like ClickSend, which is really cheap. You know, it's like a few cents to send, dozens of text messages. But it's an easy way to immediately send a message out to them and re-engage them. So before I move to the next section, I just want to ask everyone, after your masjid doors have closed down, how do you know who your community is?
We don't.
Does anyone have a database or their names? What are some ways that you guys can keep track of them?
I have an email address and a few people's cell phone number. So we created the WhatsApp message and we send email.
We have a membership email list.
A membership email list? Okay.
Yes, yes, this is Simi Valley.
Does anyone have, does anyone keep track of names and numbers of anyone?
Yes, we do at King Fahd.
At King Fahd? Okay.
Yeah.
And about how many people are on that?
Right now, we have probably email address and phone number together, approximately, but a little bit over 200.
200?
Yeah, but it's not enough. I get more than 1,500 people come in Jummah prayer.
So you're back in the space where you need to figure out who your community is. I see some people are raising their hands. If you guys can unmute yourself and just speak, because I'm not able to see who's raising their hand, as many people are doing at once.
Chino Valley Islamic Center, we're trying to build up our like kind of database right now. We do have some starting points, but we're still trying to get there.
So when somebody donates in your community, where do they regularly donate?
That's a starting point where we're going off of.
At the donor list?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We have a PayPal through our website and Venmo and Zelle, but mostly in month of Ramadan, people maybe about 15-20% donation come through PayPal, but mostly donation is cash money on Friday box or month of Ramadan. You know, if people give the check, we have the copy of the check and with their phone number and address and everything. But 70% money comes as a cash, and we don't know who's paying the cash.
Okay. So my request for everyone at this point in time is I think it's very essential to be able to gather as much information on who your community is. So we heard right now some of the people say that they're able to look at their PayPal account. They're able to look at checks. They're able to look at other spaces where they might have people's information. But it's very essential throughout this process to create a database with all of your community members. A database with their name, their email address, and their phone number. If you have some WhatsApp group and other things, you know, the process needs to begin where you have everyone's information so you can easily stay engaged with your community. Because right now, anything could happen. I mean, at this point, the internet is vast. If you're not able to continuously keep engaged with the community members in your community, they're not going to hear from the masjid for months. Is there any other ways that people are collecting information or keeping a database of their community members?
We started one time at the King Fahd that Friday we announce it and ask them to just leave their email address and phone number. So that's what we have that much database.
And do many of the masjids collect donations online right now? How many of you, who doesn't collect donations on the internet? So everyone at some point has collected donations. So I guess there is some starting point there to be able to collect some information. So if Malik, you can write down this action item, and we can probably remind everyone afterwards. The first action item that I'd like everyone to do, from this workshop is to really create a database of your community. Creating their name, their email address, their phone number. There's online donor databases where you can save all this information, but I would just start off with an Excel sheet because you want to be able to continuously know who your community is and reach out to them in situations of fundraising and other challenges all throughout the month. And if you think about it, if you know enough people in your community, you can start gathering names, creating a list of who are the people that you remember from your community. And then after you get, at least about 15, 20 people on that list, you can start reaching out to them and asking them to start submitting and adding names to that list, whether that's by email or a Google form. You just want to continuously keep building an inventory of the people in your community. Any questions before I move to the next slide?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding this list, how protected does it have to be? Is it just whatever the, I realize that, some people may not want their information to be out there and stuff, but you have to be fairly protective of it, of the list. And
yeah, the laws around lists and a lot of these things, they range around soliciting people and, constant phone calls. There's a lot of laws around that. But this list, this is really a list that you and your board and your community members should create internally and collect that information. I wouldn't publish that list. I wouldn't give that list to the entire community. I would solicit it, ask people to input their information and informations of others, and you'll have a rough list of your community members that you can reach out to. You just keep that within your circle of the need to know within your board and the community members. It's not a list you want to publish. I've seen some people put those lists on their website of all their community members, and they got the first part right. They created a list of community members, but the part they didn't get right was they gave it to everyone. Okay. Any other questions? All right. The required tools. I wanted to simplify it for everyone as far as what you need to really get the job done this Ramadan. Yeah, is someone raising their hand? If anyone is raising their hand and they need to speak, they can unmute themselves and speak. Okay. So there's three major tools. Obviously Zoom. I'm assuming everyone here at some point uses Zoom. Does anyone here not use Zoom? So one of the things within Zoom that I would mention, that we all know that we all have Zoom to use, but I would mention that within Zoom, there is a functionality which I can't share. Oh, well, let's see. Within the screen where you can click on live on Facebook or live on YouTube. And if you didn't know that, this is a way of creating a Zoom session where we're recording something, and and you're immediately able to go live on Facebook or YouTube and share those links with your community. These this is only available on the pro version of Zoom, but once you get that, you can create a webinar and then share that webinar link with the community and constantly go live on Facebook and YouTube from one platform. The other tool I would suggest is to have an iPhone or an Android phone, or a good enough phone that can record video and live stream. And then the third tool is Canva. So Canva is a graphic design tool that's very simple. It's ultimately it has hundreds of templates, and you can edit out pre-made templates and create graphics that you can make flyers from, brochures. If you wanted to do a mailer to your community, you can do a mailer through there. You can do postcards. So there's all these different graphical tools you can create from there. Any questions on the software before I go to the next slide?
The Canva tool, does it cost to buy that, or is it available?
So there's a free version and there's a $10 a month version. The $10 a month version, it comes with thousands of stock photos for free, and then it comes with a lot of other perks. So it's worth it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. The type of let's see, the type of people you need. Ultimately, I was looking at what's feasible for your community to be able to do to create a Ramadan experience through the internet. The first person I realized that you need an imam. If you don't have an imam or someone who's a spiritual leader, it becomes difficult. But if you have someone that's playing that role in your masjid, they're essential. The second person is a graphic designer, someone who you can talk to. I mean, if you ask people within your community or put out a job, Ramadan temporary job, you'll pay them $16, $17 an hour to make flyers and graphics. It's very essential that you have someone that can serve in this temporary position while you're doing your Ramadan projects. And alongside that, they should have some general social media experience. And then the third person is a project manager, someone who can just oversee that everything is going smoothly. This could be someone from within the board or whoever else, but someone who's keeping track of the logistics. Any questions on this slide?
One thing just to add, if your community specifically does not have an imam or a spiritual leader, for instance, on payroll or that is particularly there, alhamdulillah, there are a plethora of speakers and individuals who can cover that role on a day by day basis, not necessarily for the whole month, but can fill in day by day. And if anyone needs any help or information with that, inshallah, contact us and we'd be more than happy to help you and connect you.
Okay. Objectives. So what should you accomplish at the end of this Ramadan? By the end of this Ramadan, the goal for your online experience of your masjid is to really create a strong and interpersonal connection to your regular community members utilizing technology. Now, as a masjid, you're unable to give them a space to pray, and they're unable to attend a Jummah khutbah, but they're able to still feel connected to a community. And that's ultimately what you want to do with your online engagement. Because at the end of the day, the options have broadened now on the internet. So if someone was coming to your masjid and now they're at home, there are thousands of options on the internet of people they can listen to. Every speaker out there is doing some sort of live event every day. They're able to connect with so many other people. But one thing that they can't do is they can't feel the regular connection with their own community members, the people that they were close to, the people they spend time with, which your online experience will help engage that and keep that community feel going. So when people ask, why should your masjid do anything? Well, ultimately, one thing that you're providing is you're keeping your community together throughout all of this, providing that support, providing that engagement, whether it's through events virtually for the youth, or the halaqah for the sisters, or the brothers just drinking coffee at home on Zoom together. Whatever it is, those experiences are now ultimately in a virtual space, but they can still feel like they're in the masjid if it's done with the care and the planning. Any questions on this? All right. So this is one of the key components of your Ramadan planning, is to have a strong schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so every day of the week, you need to be planning out what is that going to look like. So before Ramadan begins, everyone, you have only 1 week now, you should sit down and create a schedule like this. This schedule not only has activities, but it also has, what's going to be posted. For example, one of the things that we put here, on Monday, there will be a positive quote from Jummah. So someone will go online, look at the quote from your Friday message, if you give a Friday message from your community, and take one quote and post that quote on Monday, and then have a link and remind people that this is something that that was said last week, and this is our community message. If you are continuously, a lot of the masajid are still doing Quran recitations within the musalla and the other areas. Live streaming it is very important. One of the things, I used to live in Saudi Arabia for a little bit, and one of the things that everyone did in our community there, that we were constantly watching the Quran recitation and the prayers at the Haram, which keeps you engaged, even though there's recordings there. So being able to have a live recitation that your imam is doing or your community leaders are doing, and everyone can see, is an opportunity to engage them. Another way of engaging them is continuing your live after Isha Khataras. If your masjid is doing a Khatara, make sure to live stream it and keep your community engaged in that. And not only on Facebook and YouTube, but through Zoom. One of the key aspects of doing it through Zoom is that you keep the community feel together, because people can talk back and ask questions and do all these different things. What are some other ideas that you can do during the week?
Is there I know that sometimes you can do a recording and post it at a certain time versus live presentation. If it's a Quran recitation or something like that, how much of a difference would that be if it's?
Yeah, I mean, there is an option in Facebook where you can record a live message, and then you can upload it and click start a watch party. When you start a watch party, it invites everyone else to ultimately, they'll be notified and they'll be able to watch it. But from my experience, there's a clear difference, a psychological difference, and just it's something that people are used to. If there's something that's live, they're more likely to watch it versus something that's recorded.
Thanks. Thank you.
So my second action item for all of you is to take this. I'm going to send this presentation to everyone. Is to take this schedule here and list out what are the different activities and different things that we're going to do online every day in Ramadan. So every single day should have some activity that's live streamed, and you should also be posting on your social media platforms to constantly remind people, first of all, that you're there, and that your masjid needs support, and your masjid is here for you, and we're trying to continuously build a community throughout this. Any questions on the schedule? Anyone who wants to speak can speak up. People are raising their hand. Is anyone on mute? Everyone can unmute and speak, correct?
Yeah, you have to unmute it. It's on the left-hand side.
I think some people are not allowed to talk. They're on mute, but they're not allowed to talk.
So everyone should be able to unmute their microphone. If you have a question, when Arbazz asks, you can just go ahead and unmute and ask your question. If you feel more comfortable putting your question in the chat or in the Q&A box, you're welcome to do either of those as well.
I think I have to.
Now I think you probably gave us permission. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Humaira Sheikh from Islamic Center of Temecula Valley. I was actually putting questions in the chat message also and in the Q&A, but I don't know if you were able to see them or not.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't checked the Q&A, but yeah, you can go ahead with your question. I think now everyone else can speak.
Okay. So, you were talking about the database, and basically the database is the Excel sheet, the membership, people that join us and give us their information. And so our secretary, Brother Ibrahim, he's probably on the line also right now. And so we have somebody in charge of the database. And but to build on that, that's the main thing, and especially Ramadan coming, that would be my question, how to build on it.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you have a drive or some sort, if you create just a simple, Google form, which you can just call it IC, Islamic Center, whatever, not member list, because everyone automatically thinks they have to pay for a member list. You can just say community list, sign up for updates, and then just send it around on WhatsApp and everyone you can think of. And then put your people's names on there. I mean, as much as you can to your own extent.
So one of my question was, in your presentation, you had something like a message, click message. I don't have that screen in front of me now. But what is the difference between that and the WhatsApp?
So click send, WhatsApp, everyone has WhatsApp, and they have, hundreds of messages that they get or that are spam and all sorts of things that are going on WhatsApp. And sometimes you lose the focus, but click send is a direct text message. So, we get text messages on our phone. Click send will send a direct text message to all the phone numbers that you have in there. So you're not getting a WhatsApp message where you have to download an app or anything. A text message is directly to their phone.
You have to get permission from people to be able to do that?
There's obviously, there's two ways of doing it. I mean, the first way is that you send out a mass message and you say, welcome, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for being part of our community. And at the end of the message, they can opt out. It's only illegal or it's spam if they can't opt out. As long as they're given the option to opt out and they opt out, you just recognize that if they opt out, don't send them another message. And matter of fact, in the software, if they opt out, it'll be removed automatically. So they just have to literally text back stop or anything like that.
Okay.
So after the initial message, if you continue, that's when it becomes a problem.
So is it similar like a messenger then?
What type of messenger?
We send messages through the messenger.
No, it's like a text message. You know, just on your phone, if you get regular text messages,
Yeah.
it's just like that. So you'll have a dedicated number for your masjid, and then from that number, it'll be a regular cell phone number, right? And then you are able to directly send a text message to everyone's phone, their cell phone. And then they can respond and communicate with you, and you'll get the responses and all those different things.
Yeah, Arbazz, Assalamu alaikum. This is Ibrahim from Temecula as well. I just downloaded that app, the Click Send app, and there is maybe if it sounds like you've used it already, if you have a tutorial on it or something, because when I open it up, it's not allowing me to even sign up.
So ClickSend is a you create it on your desktop. You manage it on your desktop.
Okay.
So there's an app
helpful.
version, but that's very simplified, and you can only do a couple of things on there. So you want to go to clicksend.com and create an account there.
All right, great. Thank you.
And just to clarify, one of the reasons why ClickSend is so great is that, one, it gives your masjid essentially a number that can text each person individually, instead of creating a large group where, you know, it's kind of cumbersome having these large groups. You're individually messaging every person without having to go through the tedious motion of individually selecting, copying, and pasting to one person. You have that one message, and it individually gets sent to everyone. So it makes it a little bit easier.
And it's personalized. So if you have your name in there, you can put in their name. You could say, Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed, and they'll get an individual one, and the other person will get an individual one. There's a field that generates their names.
Is there a cost to that?
Yeah, it's very minimal. I think I sent out last year. I sent out about 1,000 text messages for about $20.
For the whole year?
Yeah.
That's good.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jawad. I'm from Islamic Society of West Valley. Mashallah, we have all the technology tools. We have Google for nonprofit. We have MailChimp. We have the Canva nonprofit. We have the tools, but one of the challenges that we have is creating a consolidated donor or a community list. So we have Google Forms collected. We have MailChimp. We have Mohid, but we don't have the proper tools to consolidate the list and keep it up to date. If you can share some of your experiences with that, that'll be helpful.
Yeah. So, one thing you can do is if you get one donor, do you have a donor database that you use?
We use MailChimp as our primary collection point, but we have, I think, 20% clicks on our emails. I think around 600 emails that go out, but only 20% that view it.
Yeah. So that's one list, but what you need is a donor database. And if you Google online, there's hundreds of donor databases. But what a donor database will do for you is it'll consolidate all the information. So that one database will take information from MailChimp. It'll take information from other platforms, from your donor, Mohid. It'll take all of those things and it'll consolidate it into one space. So you'll have one database from all the different things that you use. I'm sure that some people use Mohid, they use PayPal, they use the text service, they have Google Sheets, they have all these different things, but rarely do they have them all in one place to use effectively. So what a donor database will do is consolidate that, and you can keep track of what's the update and who's getting what emails. So, one of the databases that I've seen and used in the past is a Little Green Light, and it's able to do that and bring everything to one centralized space.
So can you give some names of some donor databases software?
So Little Green Light is one of the main ones. Salesforce is another one. Salesforce has one, but it's a little bit complicated. Donor Perfect is another one. But my suggestion to everyone is to get the simplest one, which I've seen as Little Green Light. The other ones get a little too complicated, and it takes a lot to manage.
Is it smart enough to know, like, connect name with against emails, or do you have to do that manually somehow? Or
so, you know, there's a tool in all of them called deduping, which is like a deduplicating list tool. And what it does is if there's an email that matches another data, if there's a record and it matches by email or phone number or first and last name or address, it'll flag it. And they'll tell you, look, there's some duplicates, and it'll ask you to go through the list and see yes or no if it's duplicate.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions before I continue? I know some people weren't able to ask before, so we could take a few more questions and then move on. All right. All right. So what I do want to show you is just what should your posts look like. These are multiple Instagram posts in different areas. So everyone sees where my mouse is, correct?
Yes.
So this is what a Instagram feed looks like. You know, people post images. If you click on here, it'll go to a live video that some people are playing. You can message, you can contact. So ultimately, this is what a feed looks like. And one of the things that within Instagram that you can do is right here on the right. When you open a story, a little image can pop up and it can generate, you know, a letter about from your masjid board, for example. And these are all samples from a church. On the left, right here with the man on the talking, that's their regular message that they have every week published to their Instagram feed. And then on the left here is Imam Khalid Latif. He put out a notice where he's reaching out to his community and just making dua for all the people that passed away. And I believe he does this every few days, and he collects dua requests through Instagram. So my purpose in sharing this is because when you go through your schedule, which is one of your action items, is that you're going to look at all of the different platforms that you have, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and schedule out what do you need to post every day. Is it going to be a dua request? And is it going to be posted on Facebook, Instagram, on the same day? And who is going to do that? So when you're scheduling out all of these things, you need to think about what is the appropriate content to put. And one thing I want to mention before we go to the next slide is that whatever you post on your social media feed, on your Instagram or your Facebook, don't copy. Don't take any other masjid's work. Don't take quotes from other people. Make sure everything is very personalized to your masjid. Otherwise, people will see your Instagram and your Facebook and all these other things, and then they're just going to be like, this is like every other account. They're not going to get the feel that this is their masjid. So when you have an Instagram, you want to be able to post pictures from past activities, you know, posts of different things that the masjid has done, and constantly have that, you know, every day, alongside your reminders, your dua requests, and then just other updates from the community. Does everyone understand this Instagram?
Yes.
Does anyone not use Instagram? Has everyone used it?
Yeah, we use it. I use it for my business regularly, and we also use it for the masjid as well.
Okay.
in Temecula.
This is Firoz from Islamic Center of Yorba Linda. We don't use it actively, so I wanted to know the effectiveness of it, right? So mostly we use WhatsApp and email and Facebook and all that. But how good is the reach of Instagram, maybe in the Orange County area, or how, with our crowd?
So I would say it's pretty high. Instagram is the second largest social media platform, and then in this time period, as everyone is at home, more and more people are creating Instagram accounts or creating social media accounts just because they want to stay connected. So not only is the data showing that there's a spike in people using these different social media platforms, but you're seeing a lot more new users. And the age range is definitely between the ages of 25 and about 45. But if you ultimately go on there and you spend some time, one of the things you can do is your Islamic Center Yorba Linda, correct?
Yes.
I would go on there and see if has anyone posted about Islamic Center Yorba Linda.
Okay. And is it like people? It is like the Facebook people liking and joining you, or you can go out, like you can do a broadcast and get people into it.
Yeah, you can do a broadcast. You can do engagement. I'm going to show you a little trick. You guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say I type in Islamic Center Yorba Linda in Instagram, and one of the things that it already does is that there's a location created in Instagram. So if you type in Islamic Center Yorba Linda, you can see that people have posted on their Instagram already about your masjid.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure if you do other masjids and other communities, you'll see that there's already people who have posted pictures and other things.
Arbazz, we're not seeing you searching the.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
okay.
still your slides.
Okay, you guys see it now?
You're good now, yeah.
So I searched up Islamic Center Yorba Linda on Instagram. And as you can see here, there's people already from your community that have posted some pictures of events and things.
MashaAllah.
So it's already an existing platform and base. Ultimately, what you need to do is instead of them, posting and then typing up Islamic Center Yorba Linda, if you have a profile, they're able to just select your masjid and you're able to connect with them. Because these are people that have already, one of these guys, this guy has almost 1,000 pictures, 1,000 likes, whoever that is. So these are people that ultimately could be engaging with your community. Any questions about the type of content for Instagram?
So let me ask you a quick question. You just said that Yorba Linda Masjid, one of the guy has 1,000 friend or 1,000 follower. So if those 1,000 people goes to that brother Instagram, he should be able to see that masjid.
Yeah. So there in Instagram, if there's a location of any sort, Instagram will automatically generate a sort of a profile for them that's managed by nobody. So now there's an Islamic Center Yorba Linda that anyone who goes and takes a picture there, they can select Islamic Center Yorba Linda and the picture will populate there. If you have a profile, they can, check in and it'll be connected to your profile for your masjid. Otherwise, it's just a blank account with the name and the location.
Yeah, Arbazz, can you talk about the hashtag function and the importance of that when people use the hashtag function to let's say, tag the Islamic Center of Yorba Linda or Islamic Center of Temecula Valley or whatever. Can you talk about the functionality of that and how important that is?
Yeah, so hashtags are ultimately, when someone posts a picture, like they're at the end of their, their text, they can put a hashtag, and then everyone can group and gather based off of that hashtag. So for example, if you have a hashtag that says Islam, you'll see everyone that has posted about Islam. Let me just share my screen and show you how that works. So right here, I searched hashtag Islam. You guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone here has put hashtag Islam, and all of these pictures, there's 27 million posts that have hashtag Islam. So as people, put hashtag whatever, you're able to categorize them. So let's say, for example, you want to target people within Yorba Linda that have put hashtag Islam on their pictures. You can target everyone. You can target anyone in the city of Yorba Linda that has put hashtag Islam or something else. And then there's ways of identifying who are Muslims and who are people in your community based off of their posts and different things like that. Maybe it's a hashtag of a hadith or something. So if you're able to see in the city of Yorba Linda or Temecula or wherever how many people have posted a hadith, you're able to figure out how many Muslims you can reach on that social media platform. But I think that's a little bit advanced. I think the initial way is to start off by seeing what I pulled up earlier and seeing how many people have posted a picture from your location on Instagram. And then what you can do is when you create an account, you can go and follow all those people so they know to follow you. Any other thoughts on Instagram? All right. Daily Facebook posts. So, I think Facebook is very straightforward as far as what you can post. But one of the things that, like I mentioned earlier, is to create a schedule. This is an ISOC. They have a schedule posted of what goes on every day, and letting people know in advance that this is what's happening. This is just a live game. There's another way. I mean, I like the way Civic has engaged their community. They've posted their trivia game with their community, and they've constantly engaged people. Positive quotes, like I mentioned earlier. This is one of Imam Umar Suleiman, but what you would want is a quote from your khatib, and have that on a regular basis. And then when you create weekly events, you can, as you can see here, it says Thursday, April 16th, April 23rd. You can schedule it out. You create one event and you schedule out your entire events for the whole month. So as you work on your schedule, one of the things that you should do as an action item is create events on Facebook for every single event that's going to take place, so people have it on their calendar, and then you make sure to invite them to it. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on Facebook because I feel like that's everyone generally has some strong suits there. But like I mentioned earlier, one of the points that I made is don't post anything that is not relevant to your community. Or looks like it's generic or just something that everyone posts. Don't post, don't post lectures and content and things from other places that everyone else is already posting, because it just takes away from what your community really has to offer. Any questions on Facebook before I move on?
One thing just to mention though, sharing, like for instance, if you don't have a program on a particular day or something like that, something that could work very well is teaming up with, a center, a local masjid or somewhere else, that is having a program that you can share theirs on your page. For instance, like you say, okay, if you're not having a lecture that night, right? You can say, okay, for instance, Shura Council is having a lecture tonight. We can share that on our page, right? To make up for anything that you might not, you know, that sharing from someone else, as long as, you know, you don't have something would be fine. But what he's particularly talking about is, you know, kind of piggybacking or jacking from others.
Yeah, you just don't want to just copy a bunch of stuff that's not relevant. Okay, any questions related to Facebook before I move on?
I have a question regarding, now we have multiple platforms. We have Instagram, we have YouTube, Facebook. It becomes overwhelming to support all these platforms. So for example, if we create an image for that we want to post on Instagram, the sizing of the image on Facebook differs, and then YouTube. So is there a platform? I see a lot of new platforms that consolidate all these different, like for example, MailChimp supports posting on Instagram, and Facebook, once you publish a newsletter. Is there a platform like that where it can consolidate all these Instagram, Facebook, everything under one umbrella?
Yeah, so you know, I believe actually Facebook has a way of, if you go to your Facebook, when you post on your page, there's a little button to the side that automatically would allow you to post on Instagram from your Facebook page. That's one way. The other way is if you use a tool called Hootsuite, and if you schedule it on Hootsuite, it'll automatically publish to your Facebook and Instagram and whatever else. You can go on there and you can literally schedule, if you sit down tonight, go on Hootsuite, you can schedule all of your posts for the entire month today. And then you won't have to do anything. It'll just all be scheduled out. And then for sizing, you know, Instagram is pretty flexible now on the regular posts. So sizing for Facebook and Instagram isn't too difficult. And then if you use Zoom, you know, Zoom will automatically go on Facebook and YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. Daily YouTube posts. I mean, I pulled this snapshot here from Epic Masjid. One of the things that's really important about YouTube posts. I mean, a lot of times people put YouTube videos up, but they don't name it. They're not clear about what the video is about. So whenever you're posting videos from Zoom to your YouTube, to rename it, make it clear what it's about, and then, you know, encourage people to constantly subscribe and join your YouTube community. I don't see many masjids having to use YouTube too much, besides ensuring that, you know, the videos that you live stream on Facebook are also live streamed on YouTube, because what you can do is ultimately share that link with a lot more people, a lot more faster. If someone doesn't use Facebook or they're on their phone, they can watch from YouTube pretty easily. All right. Weekly newsletter. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, MailChimp is a good tool. One of the things to do with your MailChimp newsletters is to really simplify them. Too much content can distract you. If you can have a good, you know, logo up there, and then a big image that captivates everyone, and then a short message every week that consolidates all your information and your activities, you're much more likely to engage people. Within MailChimp, if you guys use MailChimp or any other email platform, there's an option within there that if 20% of people open it, you can click on the button that says resend to non-openers, and people that didn't open it, they'll be sent another one within a couple of days, and then your open rate will go up. Any questions on the newsletter or YouTube?
Is this a template for the newsletter that can be created?
Yeah, so if you go into MailChimp, there's actually a lot of preloaded templates that you can click and create from, and then just edit out some of the information.
And you can add your own pictures and stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you.
So no other questions. I'm going to move on to fundraising. All right. Oh no, not fundraising. Text messaging. So just because I forgot I had this slide, but like you mentioned about ClickSend, the text messaging service, this is how it would look. You know, they would get this text message from a number, and you can say, "Hey, blah 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 blah. Thanks for joining us. It was great seeing you." Blah. And then you can start a conversation, a general conversation, and then a few community members can sit there, and if you're able to get even just 100 people on a text message service and just text all of them, and just sit down one day and plan out how you're going to communicate to all of them as a team, you're able to continue your conversation with your community members, and increase that engagement. And then ultimately, I mean, an important part of this is obviously everyone wants to keep their community engaged. But if you would think about fundraising and getting funds for your masjid, all of this is very essential to work on a schedule and to highlight your activities to compel someone to donate online. So it's not the same as walking into the masjid and dropping cash into a box, but it's constantly being able to engage with your daily content. The more they see of you every day of their life, the more they remember that they need to do something for the masjid. And then that moves me into the next slide, which is fundraising. So over here, I just highlighted, these are some of the campaigns that I ran for Sahab Initiative. And as you can see, we don't just ask people for money every day. We try to do it in different ways. We've created a graphic that shows ways to give, so people are reminded. But most importantly are these posts on Facebook and social media. There's always a question between using an outside service like GoFundMe or LaunchGood or using Facebook. And LaunchGood is good for long term because you're able to collect a lot of information on your community members. But for immediate, you should also do Facebook because Facebook gives you more visibility, and it's very personal. And obviously, Sahab Initiative is a charity, so it's a lot easier to highlight the work that we're doing. So here, we talked about giving hygiene kits to the elderly, and then we asked a young person in our community to talk about the need to helping people, and then people can donate directly on that post. But ultimately, what you would need to do as a masjid is highlight the need of what people are missing. So a post for a masjid may look like the youth room and say support continuous youth efforts, as they're not in that physical space, but you just talk about the importance, and then ask them lightly to donate versus trying to sell it to them. Another thing that we've done, we highlighted, when our food pantry was empty, we just put up a picture there, and we asked people to donate to help fill the shelves. And then we were able to show, how many people are served, how many meals are provided. So as your masjids are closed, you can translate this to what your community is still doing. So if your community has an imam that's doing video messages, you can create a little graphic and say that, we've done four video messages. We're continuing our virtual halaqas. We've done 10 virtual halaqas online. We're still doing counseling sessions. Our imam is still talking to people. So sponsor a counseling session with an imam, $500, $400. Sponsor the carpet in the masjid. Create as much content around the needs of the masjid and have people donate around that. Don't just ask them to donate generally to the masjid, because everyone knows, general donation, but talk about every specific aspect of the masjid that makes them feel connected. Talk about the bathroom, the wudu station, post a picture of that. If you need money for that, if you need money to give people dates, if you need people money to buy Quran, if you need just the lights, if you want a way to really shock people, is just show a picture of the masjid with the lights off and say that we need money to keep the lights on. I think everyone will be like, they'll think about it. So my ultimate point with fundraising is to be consistent every day and have some sort of post, but don't just ask for money, but share a little story about that demand. So that is it. That is the entire presentation. I really wanted to give everyone a broad overview of all these different platforms. And I know, it's very difficult to go into all the details of every platform because everything is very, very broad and there's a lot going on. But for the sake of Ramadan and being able to keep your masjid engaging the community, what I found it's essential to focus on some of these major platforms and then create a schedule and stick to it so people see your community every day. So any questions?
Yeah, Arbazz, I got on a little bit late. This is Brother Ibrahim again. I got on a little bit late, and I'm not sure if you were going to provide this presentation to everybody, or is it by request?
I'll have Malik just send it to everyone.
Inshallah, great, thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, challenges, any things you might need to just to help you guys get going?
So I have a question. This is Humaira from Islamic Center of Temecula Valley. And when you spoke about fundraising for Sahaba Initiative, which platform you found to be the most response that you received from?
What? Which platform?
Mm-hmm. Or was
I've used
all
both
platforms?
I've used, I made sure our website is up to date. I didn't get to talk about too much about web, but,
Right.
Web is important. Facebook is very important if you're doing it on Facebook, because Facebook just gives you that visibility that it doesn't for other platforms. They want people to see their fundraising tools over others. But by text message, if you do a GoFundMe or your website or whatever, outside of the Facebook platform, the other ones help. Instagram also has a donate option now, so you can donate directly on Instagram.
I thought I also saw something from Shura Council that